Magnetic Magnifying LED Light. I am going to make this light from scrap parts, a broken magnetic base, and parts found at an Amazon return store. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. It's free and it'll help me out. Okay, let's get started right now. Okay, so what I plan on doing is taking this magnetic base. Now you say, oh, this looks like a real nice magnetic base. Unfortunately, this thing is garbage. And you're like, well, Ray, why is it garbage? Well, first of all, the pole that sticks up here, or the stud that sticks up, if you take a look in here, it's stripped. So nothing will actually fit into there. So that's a bad part. And if you take a look right in here, this is actually broken. But it's not broken all the way. And if it was broken, that would be okay as well, because just like in the other video that I had, when it was broken, I 3D printed a plate and a knob to fit in there. But we don't have to do that this time, because what I plan on doing is taking this apart, and I think just by gluing it, I will be okay. So you're saying, well, if this is garbage, why are we even talking about this video? What I want to do is I want to make a magnetic base with a magnifying light on it. So here's my magnifying light. It's a nice little one, it's small. And I'm going to use a flexible shaft so I can position it to where I want for the light. I'm going to use parts from here and from here to make this. So the first thing I need to do is actually take this apart, pull the magnet out, and then retap this hole, because this hole's stripped. So if I take a look, I believe it's a 7/16. I'm going to tap it 3/8. Slight correction, it's 5/16, not 7/16. Okay, let's get started. Before I can take this apart, I need to remove this sticker right here. So we just go around with a knife. We'll glue it back on, that's not a problem. I don't want to bend it because it's an aluminum sticker. We just take it off like that. Okay. You want to push down really hard. You don't want to strip the screws here. So as we lift this aluminum plate up here, it locks in here and here, and it prevents, see how that's broken? Wow, that's broken in a few spots. Okay, I knew it was broken a little bit, but I didn't realize it was broken that much. And our magnet's got a big chip in it here too. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we save all of these little pieces, because I'm going to glue them back together, and this will be fine for what we're doing. What had happened is, obviously, because this is stripped, how this gets stripped is sometimes they work loose a small amount, then somebody drops it and it damages some of the threads, and then they drop it again and again and again, and basically the threads get stripped. And you're like, well, Ray, if this is steel, it should be tougher than that. Well, if we take a look here, this is hard to see. Maybe it might be easier from the top. Do you see the cracking here and the cracking here? This is steel, but this centerpiece here is aluminum. It's hard to see here, but here it's easier to see steel, and aluminum in the center there. And you can see it here as well. Now, before we take this magnet out, what I would do is I would double check to make sure that this is actually made out of magnet material and that it's not a magnetized piece of steel. If this was a magnetized piece of steel and it wasn't gray like that, so even when you scratch it, it's still a gray color. If it wasn't that way, then I wouldn't take it out, because just by pulling this out will demagnetize the core, and then this thing is garbage. So this one's okay to pull out and put back in. because it's an actual chunk of magnetic material, not a magnetized core. These guys are really difficult to get out, but if you slam them, oh, I shouldn't say slam them. If you just do this and then you grab onto them really quickly, I was lucky enough to be able to get this out. Now this little piece of metal here is to stop this from hitting the backside. And if you take a look, there's a split here. And we'll get into that in a few minutes. So let's take a look at our core here. Nope. Everything's sticking to the magnet that I just pulled out. Now you can clearly see the difference in the metal here and here, and even down here and here. Okay? So, but here's the best difference to be able to see. So what we have here is steel, and aluminum in the center. That breaks the magnetic flux. Okay, so when the magnet is turned on, if we take a look, we see the two brake parts here and here where the two magnet pieces are here. So when the, I don't want this to fall in, so I'm just going to be careful. I'm going to hold it here. When the magnet is in this position here, it allows the magnetic flux to go from this side all the way around here, all the way to here. So basically your magnet's on. So when we turn the magnet and it breaks the magnetic flux where this pole here goes sideways, our magnet's off. Goes this way here, and our magnet's back on. I'm going to drill and tap this 3/8/16. So I'm going to go in with a 5/16 drill and tap it with the 3/8 tap. Okay, so basically what I did is I just drilled out the hole and then tapped it. But if you take a look, I didn't chamfer this hole here. The reason why I didn't chamfer that hole is because I need all of the threads that I can get, because there's not that many threads in there. So I want it to be as strong as I could possibly get it. I'm also going to apply some Loctite to it. And some people are probably going to say, well, Ray, why didn't you just fix the existing thread? You could have easily just used a helicoil or a thread insert, which is one of these kits here. You drill it out, basically you tap it, and then you put, take a look here. And you put one of these, it looks like a spring. You put one of these inside of the hole, and then you snap it off, and then your bolt will fit right in. It works really well, but it wouldn't work very well in our circumstance. Whenever I work with glues and chemicals, I always put on gloves. Especially the glue. That gets sticky some quick. So I'm going to prep this by turning my bottle upside down, because it's almost time to replace that bottle. So now I'm going to put a little bit of Loctite on, but before I put the Loctite on, I want to double check to make sure that it's going to fit into my piece. And my piece looks just like this. I don't want to have that stud too long. So when I screw this into here, the bottom's out there. So let's put this guy into here. Make sure that we don't go too deep. Oh, we're just right around the maximum. Okay. I can also tap this a little bit. I can also tap this a little bit deeper as well if I need to. So I've cleaned the threads off in both. I'm just going to apply a little bit of red Loctite in here. Anything protruding in there at all. There we go, that's about right. And we'll let that sit overnight. Now we need to glue this guy back together. Now that I have these two pieces, I want to fit these together, and I go to put them in. Okay, I see how that guy goes in, but I don't see where this piece goes. This is that chunk of magnet that was missing. So that's not actually going back in there. That's going to be tossed away there. Time to get a new glue. This guy does not want to come out at all. I think they hear glue in there. Get some glue in there. And that should be okay. Unfortunately, this glue is the last time I can use this guy. Time to get more. Okay, on to our next project here. So basically this thing is going to screw into here. And this piece here eventually is going to screw into there. So what I need to do is I need to turn this down a small amount, and I need to put a chamfer on here, and I need to thread this 1/4-20. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this on the sander, and I'm going to flatten the end out and put a small chamfer on, and then I'm going to take my cutting die and run the die down here. Nothing too scientific. This is, you can do this at home, not a problem. Does it have to be precise? Not really. So basically what it is, I turned it down a small amount, just enough to remove the plating, and put a chamfer on the end. Now it's time to thread it. Okay, now this guy's done. So basically, you might turn around and say, well, how did you hold on to this? Because there's threads here. Did you hold it in the vise here? Did you hold it onto the threads? What I did is I screwed this guy into here and basically held onto this while I threaded this end here. So now this end should fit nicely into here. Boom, good to go. This end here will be threaded into here. And then this end here, we will thread into here once this dries off. To help show the power of the magnet, this is a little chunk that broke off of there. That's what, 2 inches? Now that this has had time to dry, we can start doing an assembly. So our stud is in. It's not protruding in any way inside there at all. So now we can put our magnet back together. This piece of metal here will stop it from grounding out on the back. So we just set that guy in there. Set our magnet inside. Gently. There we go. Now our handle here has time to dry and harden. So this guy is going to go here to here. This guy here will be our on-off plate, and that's going to go on top here. So now let's check, because our on is supposed to be on this side, our off is supposed to be on this side. So right now we shouldn't have any magnetivity here, nothing. So we switch this to the on position. We're good to go. Back into the off position there. Take our 2 little screws. There you go. Still a little bit tacky on here, which is okay. Next step is going to be gluing this on. So as I check, there's still tacky here. A little bit of tackiness there. So I think I can just slide this guy on here. Push down and let the adhesive that was on there before. Okay. Our magnet works perfect. And our stud is in there nice and secure. We take our coupling piece here, screw it on, Now I could actually mill slots in and put a wrench to tighten it down, but I'm going to be a little bit lazy. I'm just going to put this piece on here, tighten the screw onto this guy, turn it tight, loosen the screw off here, and pull this off. This is also another option for another piece to put on here. So now let's zoom out a little bit. And so let's get here. Screw this off. Screw that in this way. Take this out here. Control this. Wait. Screw it there. Okay, so we're at the point now where we have a loose wire hanging down here. This guy's going to go and be plugged in, but we still have a loose wire, so we got this piece, it kind of doesn't look so good. So we have two options. We can tie these back with these little tabs, with these zip lines here, all the way down and around the cord, or we can use this tube here. It's a split tube. I forget the name of it. I had it in my mind just a few minutes ago. So I'm going to give this a try. They come in all different sizes too. This is just a piece I happen to have laying around. Now if I want, I can zip tie. Tighten that guy back down. I can zip tie a little piece here. Or I could push this all the way up here to here, and then just zip tie the end here and zip tie the end there. I'm not sure what I'll do. I'll probably end up doing that. Push that all the way up so that the chrome isn't showing, and then zip tie here and maybe down here at the base. Okay, so now that I have this clamped down, obviously I wouldn't put it this way, I just wanted to be able to show the face here. I can turn my light on, and it's hard to see because you can see that's magnifying. So if you wanted to read something. I'm glad to see that you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or suggestions or ideas for other video topics, please let me know in the comments section. If you got any value out of this video, please take a moment to like and subscribe. It's free and it'll help me out. All you have to do is click on the icon of my face and I'll do the rest. Thank you and have a great night.